Syria is once again at a crossroads. Recent rebel victories have shifted the balance of power, leaving the nation teetering on the brink. The Syrian people, weary from years of conflict, face an uncertain future. The world watches as long-held assumptions crumble, and the specter of a new Syria emerges from the chaos. In a series of swift and decisive offensives, rebel forces have captured key cities across Syria. Daraa, the birthplace of the 2011 uprising, has fallen into rebel hands. Aleppo and Hama, once symbols of government control, are now under rebel control. These victories mark a turning point in the conflict, demonstrating the rebels' growing strength and resolve. The Syrian government, once seemingly invincible, is now facing its greatest challenge yet. The fall of these strategic cities represents a significant blow to the regime's morale and its grip on power. The international community is grappling with the implications of these developments, as the possibility of a negotiated settlement seems increasingly distant. Damascus, the heart of Syria, is now under siege. Rebel forces spearheaded by the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham (HTS) group have advanced from the north, capturing the strategic town of al-Sanamain, a mere 12 miles from the capital. Simultaneously, rebel forces from Daraa are pushing towards Damascus from the south, tightening the noose around the seat of Assad's power. Adding to the government's woes, opposition fighters have breached the capital's defenses, penetrating the district of Kanakar. This daring incursion into the heart of government-controlled territory highlights the vulnerability of the regime and the growing audacity of the rebel forces. The situation in Damascus is tense and volatile. Residents trapped in the crossfire are enduring shortages of food, water, and medical supplies. The once bustling streets of the capital are now eerily deserted, as fear and uncertainty grip the city. The sound of gunfire and explosions echoes through the ancient alleyways, a constant reminder of the encroaching conflict. The international community has responded to the escalating violence in Syria with a mixture of condemnation and cautious observation. Russia, a staunch ally of the Assad regime, continues to provide military support, launching airstrikes against rebel positions. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov emphasized the need to prevent a terrorist victory, signaling Russia's unwavering support for the Syrian government. The United States, while urging its citizens to leave Syria, has limited its involvement to diplomatic efforts. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has engaged in discussions with Turkey, a key NATO ally bordering Syria, focusing on the protection of civilians caught in the crossfire. Qatar, a vocal critic of the Assad regime, has condemned the government's actions, urging President Bashar al-Assad to seek reconciliation with the Syrian people. Iran, another key ally of the Syrian government, has taken a more cautious approach, withdrawing military commanders and non-essential diplomatic staff from Syria, signaling a potential shift in its stance. As the conflict escalates, the humanitarian crisis in Syria deepens. The United Nations estimates that over 370,000 people have been displaced in recent weeks, adding to the millions already uprooted by years of war. The situation is particularly dire in areas under siege, where access to basic necessities is severely restricted. Hospitals and medical facilities are struggling to cope with the influx of casualties, facing shortages of essential medical supplies. The ongoing violence is hindering the delivery of humanitarian aid, leaving countless civilians vulnerable and without access to basic necessities. The international community faces a moral imperative to act decisively to alleviate the suffering of the Syrian people. A coordinated effort is needed to ensure the safe passage of humanitarian aid, provide refuge for those displaced, and work towards a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The future of Syria and the well-being of its people hangs in the balance.